It's time for The Local with your host and realtor, Katie McKinney.
Hey guys, it's Katie McKinney with The Local, and today I have the honor of having Allie Hamilton on the podcast. Allie, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm back.
She's back. It doesn't take a lot of convincing, but it does take some short notice work in order to make it work, right, Allie?
Right.
Okay, cool. But today is actually really important. We're going to be talking about Zillow. Zillow is, and for people that don't know, is an app or a platform that potential home buyers or sellers use to look at properties, kind of compare their property to others on the market, and search for properties, try to get some more information. So for those of you that don't know, Zillow is a very big platform, kind of a monster, if you will. And so it's important to kind of know a little bit about the app. It's not just something you can pull up and pull up some information. It's much more than that. Although you can do that, it is a lot more. So kind of what we want to first talk about is when you go to list a property, we put everything in the multiple listing service. So Allie, if you want to take it away, kind of the process of the MLS. Oh, for you that don't know Allie, she is my licensed transaction coordinator, aka boss in a lot of ways. Right-hand woman, you name it. She's it. You've probably seen her on our newsletter, social media, in person. She's everywhere. So, Allie, take it away.
Thanks. So when we go to actually make a property live on the multiple listing service, which we're a part of, we go into the MLS and we fill out all these different, boxes of data that pertain to the property. So square footage, does it have a basement, does it have a walk-in pantry, master bath, all these bits and pieces of information that are important to a property. And once we fill all that in, we click the save button and it becomes officially live on the multiple listing service. When that happens, all that information is automatically sent to all these other platforms like Trulia and Zillow, and it auto-populates. So as you can guess, there are some differences in the way we enter data into the MLS versus how Zillow's data entry works. So when that happens, there are some things that aren't transferred correctly. So sometimes, right when a property is made live and it pops up on Zillow, you may see, oh, it has a pool in the backyard, and you go to look at the pictures, there's not a pool. Where'd that come from? So sometimes that happens just because of the way Zillow's algorithms and the way they input information versus our multiple listing service. So what we try to do is just as soon as we can after the property is made live, we go into Zillow, go to edit the listing on our side, and go through each thing and make sure it matches what the property actual information is in the multiple listing service, so there's no variation between the two. And that really just makes sure there's no question of I don't see a pool but it says there's a pool, questions like that, or square footage, especially square footage, because the way Zillow breaks down and groups listings based on your searches, a lot of that has to do with how many square feet you're looking for in a house. So you want to make sure your square footage is correct and all the other information. So we try to do that just as soon as we can, because Zillow is quick to populate and make it live on their end as soon as we do ours. So we try to hop on that and update that as soon as we can. But just so you know, there may be a time from when the property is live on multiple listing service to when it's live on Zillow that some information may kind of be not exactly correct yet.
Yeah, most definitely. And what I've noticed also is not only just the features of the property, like does it have a pool or not, or the square footage, which are important things, but also the it says what I love about my home, or what I love about this home, and then some remarks. Some of those remarks are actually there from old listings of the property. So it might say, I love this home because it's got beautiful trees in the yard, and it's a 2-bed, 1.5 bath. Well, it may be a 3-bed now, which that's an issue. But it might be bringing up some old information from a previous owner, from a previous real estate agent, and so we have to go in there and manually change that, update it with the current public remarks, and different features as well. So like Allie mentioned, it does take a little bit, not necessarily a little bit for Zillow to transfer that information and make it a new listing, but really, especially on a weekend, if we're busy and doing other things, sometimes it'll pull up and there's the new photos usually, which is excellent, but it has that old information paired with it, and so that's definitely very important to note. And Allie and I try to work really hard to make sure that that's a smooth transition, but it doesn't always happen. So definitely need to know we're working with Zillow in a way, but also kind of against it in a way too, to try to beat it to the punch. So, so yeah, that's important to know. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the Zestimate. So the Zestimate is a huge, I guess it could be a controversial number. For some people, it's a really beneficial number. A Zestimate is an estimate from Zillow using an algorithm. So for those of you that don't know, they take, price per square foot, some of the features that you've selected on Zillow, the neighborhood and some past sales in that neighborhood, and they put it in an algorithm, and that's how you get the Zestimate. But what I want to make sure that people know is that a Zestimate can also be very inaccurate, and a lot of times it is. Zillow does not, they're not someone that can peek inside your home and see all of the, trim work, custom, cabinetry and countertops and paint and flooring and all these different things that you've spent a lot of hard-earned money on. Zillow has no idea that you've done those things. So all they know are numbers. It is a computer system, algorithm. And so I want to make sure and note that, because especially when, we go on a listing appointment, people say, well, I know what my property's worth. I really don't need your help. And I really don't need you to kind of look at my property because I already know what it's worth. And I say, great. So how did you know what your property's worth? And they say, I said, did you have a previous appraisal? They say, no, my Zestimate says that it's a $150,000 house. Well, one, it could be that your house is a $150,000 house based on the algorithm. Maybe they got it right. The other scenario is that it might be higher, the value actually might be higher, you're not giving yourself enough credit there, or it could be that the property's worth less than what the Zestimate has it at. Is the layout unique? Is there an obvious issue with your property that's going to impact the value? So there's a lot that goes into it. Do you have anything to say on that, Allie, on the Zestimate? No, I covered it. Great. But it'll tell you when you pull up your property, you can put in the address and it says Zestimate. And you can actually click on the Zestimate. And sometimes when there is a huge difference between list price and what the Zestimate is, Zillow will actually put on there, it appears we're missing some information because our list price and what in your Zestimate are very different. We may be missing something. And usually they are. They usually are missing something. And typically they're valuing your property lower than what it's actually worth, according to an appraiser or a real estate agent using some sold comps, and I think that's pretty important, and we see that a lot, don't we? I feel like a lot more on where Zestimate is undervaluing the property, not necessarily overvaluing it. Sometimes they are, but not a lot. And so yeah, that's important. If you have a question on value, we can do a price opinion on it using active and sold comparables in the area.
What is a comparable, Katie?
A comparable. So it's funny when you type in comparable on like any kind of Word document, it says it's not a word. Comparables is what we use. So a comparable is a property that is similar to the subject property. So the property that we're speaking of, maybe your property, and it could be various things. So age, size, location, bed bath count, and I probably already said condition, but that's the big one.
And if it could be a sold comp?
Yes. So we have, there's two different categories. Thank you, Allie. There are active comps, so properties that are currently on the market. How does our subject property match up to the others? And then there are sold comparables. So these are sold comparables that appraiser might use, and we hope that they do use. And it is not dream world like I like to call it. It's reality. So these properties actually have sold. and we know what they've sold per square foot and some features about them. I've probably been in them if they've sold, because I do try to get into every property that's on the market, and so I know I have a lot of information about those sold properties, and so that is what a comparable is. We're using those properties to compare to your subject property to determine value. Good question there. So the last thing, I guess, and I kind of want to talk about is the advertising side of Zillow. So, Allie, talk a little bit. You're my advertising guru. Talk a little bit about Zillow's advertising platforms.
So basically, there is the Woodward area market. So we're talking about Woodward. If you want, as an agent, to advertise on Zillow, you pay a premium to Zillow each month in order to be a preferred or premier or at the top of the list of agents if someone searches for an agent in their area. And then if you're looking at a property in particular, and you click more information, the people that are paying the most, usually, or it's picked at random. Am I saying this right?
Yes, randomly, but with money.
But with money.
Yes, she's saying it exactly right.
You pay for, you're paying for those leads, and so if they click more information on a property, it goes to one of those agents. If they do not answer the first time, it's not the agent not answering. It's not Katie not answering. It is pushed to the next agent if you don't answer the first time. Which, when we're in showings, or if we're at a closing, or if we're with a client, we find it rude to answer your phone. So sometimes that we don't catch it on the first call, and just know that doesn't mean you're necessarily calling a certain agent when you click more information.
Yes. Oh, good point.
You can't call Zillow and know you're going to speak to Katie or whomever.
Unless it's my direct line, which is the 5886 number. Actually, Zillow shows that I have a completely different phone number, and that's because they're using that platform in order to get a hold of me. But like Allie mentioned, if we're in closings or we're at an appointment or I'm at showings, I am not going to answer the phone. I know a lot of people that do, and if it's an emergency, I will, but I don't remember a time where I have, where Zillow's trying to call me, and it does. It pops up Zillow Premier Agent, and if I don't answer that call, I know I'm losing that potential client. However, it's more important to me that when I am present with you, that I am attentive, and that I care, and that what we're doing at the time matters as well. And so I won't answer. And so it may say, on the Zillow platform, so you have a property pulled up, and to the right of it, it says, contact agent for more information on the right side. And it might tell you which agent you're contacting, but it probably won't, because if I don't answer, it just goes to the next and the highest paying agent at the time. So do know that if you want to know that you're going to speak with me, and that you're going to call me, I do have a profile on Zillow. And that profile should have my direct cell phone number, as well as my email and our website. And that is how you can connect to me as well, and know that you're connecting with me, and not kind of go through the ringer of all these different agents and who answered, who didn't answer. Because Zillow has a concierge service, which is nice, but because when you do click that, you're going to probably speak to someone, but it may not be the person that you're thinking that you're going to speak with. So another important thing that Allie kind of hit on a little bit, but I'll reiterate, is that if you're pulling up a property, it might say listing agent. So, if it's my listing, it might say listing agent, Katie McKinney. But when you click more information, it might send that notification or your information to a different agent. So just kind of know that obviously I can show any property listed by any company, including for sale by owners in some cases. So do go onto my profile. You can click on my picture on the Zillow profile. It'll give you all of my contact information, and that really is the best way to reach me if you want to specifically speak with me about a property and more questions, disclosures, want to go check it out, things like of that nature. So kind of know that it's and in a lot of ways, I guess it's not just Zillow, it's a lot of businesses. You kind of pay to play, they say, so to speak. So that's important to note. anything else on the advertising. It is by zip code. So, Woodward 73801 is going to be different than another zip code. You're going to have different premier agents in different areas. But just know that you can always contact me at my direct line, which is on my profile or on my social media platforms. It goes as a direct link to our website, and you can fill out an inquiry there, and I will personally contact you from that in case you don't want to have Zillow call you about all the different financing options and different things like that. So that is Zillow. Allie and I know a lot about Zillow because we deal with it every single day. If you have any questions about Zillow or how your property might be featured on there, definitely give me a call, 580-374-5886. I would be happy to speak with you, and that's also my number if you have specific questions about a listing that you see on Zillow. If you don't want to have to click on Zillow for more information, just call or text me and I'll send you the direct details. Allie, thanks for being on the podcast today. All right, we'll see you guys soon.